Hello my wonderful viewers, welcome to my platform. This is Linda's TV show. If it is your first time of coming across this channel and you like what you see after watching, please subscribe, put on your notification bell, set it to all notification. In that way you'll be able to get notified each time I upload a new video, even those without notification. Here we react to all forms of videos, international and local. Your friends, share my videos with your families and colleagues. Do not keep this information to yourself. Myself, I will be sitting down here to watch this video together with you from the beginning to the end. Then we'll go to the comment section and leave our comment, our opinion about the video we watch. Construct.
The judge is Yoruba. The prosecution team, all of them are Yoruba. The Attorney General is Yoruba. Mr. President is Yoruba. It appears that, for some elements within the Yoruba, community are looking at this as a new civil war between the Yoruba and the Igbos. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, but you're the one who's saying that.
No, but it's the reality.
No. Well, I mean,
it is the reality, Charles.
It depends on how you interpret.
No, but it is the reality.
Right.
Who is superintending the prosecution of Nnamdi Kanu? Is a Yoruba judge. It's not an
so you're saying that there is
Who is the prosecutor? Is the Yoruba prosecutor? Who are the prosecution team? Yoruba.
So you're saying that
the Attorney General is Yoruba.
Are you saying there is a conspiracy, or there is the perception of a conspiracy? Which are you talking about?
If you look at the way it is going, and they are resilient and adamant in seeing that Nnamdi Kanu is not given adequate provisions of time, adequate facilities, to ensure that he has adequate provisions for his defense. So if you see how it is going, one may have the perception that is a conspiracy of a few Yoruba people against the Igbos. So that's the impression that is out there. It's not just me that is talking. I mean, how can you expect somebody? You're saying that, okay, you have ruled so that you cannot go back. Every other thing will be done in presentation of your addresses. And then you have a holistic judgment. Anyway, who does that? Yeah, there are judicial issues that needs to be.
Well, I'm not holding brief,
and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not holding brief.
But I'm not holding brief for anybody. But I don't think it's fair to make an allegation against a set of people when you haven't got a scintilla of evidence to support the point that you are making.
Charles, I just gave you an instance. Excuse me, sir. I just gave you an instance. The judge is Yoruba. The judge is Yoruba.
It's not fair.
Well, it's not fair for the injustice that is being meted on Nnamdi Kanu.
Anyway, let me ask you, but it was also a strategic move that's been known to backfire. So, as we mentioned at the outset, how did it come to this? What would have driven Mr. Kanu to fire all those high-powered lawyers that make up his legal team? With more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the member of the House of Representatives under the Labour Party, the Honourable Obi Agwocha, who was in court when today's drama unfolded. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you again.
I'm happy you know that I'm a Labour man.
Yeah, well, you are, but I'm going to get to that bit because
Labour for life. I'm not wearing my Labour insignia here. But
well, I'm going to get to that because there is another drama that's unfolding. In fact, you're in the center. I mean, there's drama with Nnamdi Kanu, there's drama with the Labour Party, but we're going to get to that in a minute. But you were in court today when Mr. Kanu, for want of a better term, purged his legal team. How did it come to that?
Well, he had discussions with the legal team yesterday, and all of us were shocked when we came to court, and the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation previous, Kanu Gabi, announced to the court that himself and the legal team, especially those of the Inner Temple, are withdrawing. And the judge also was shocked and asked Nnamdi Kanu about it, and he concurred that for now that he would take charge of his defense. Doesn't mean that if tomorrow an opportunity arises that lawyers will not also be part of it. So, but for today, probably tomorrow, he will take charge of his defense. So that's what happened in court. And
were you surprised?
I was pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly or shocked?
Well, surprised and shocked at the same time. In terms that none of us knew about it. I came to court, just like I've always done, attend the court hearings and all this stuff, and I sat there listening. I kept making the contributions. It's just between Nnamdi Kanu, the prosecution team and the defense team, and the judge. So as of today, the lawyers have virtually stood down. Whether they have given Nnamdi Kanu his case files, I do not know. But when you go to section 36(6)(b) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which are actually a crucial provision towards fair hearing, specifically to persons who are charged with criminal or capital offenses, is the constitutional right of Mr. Kanu to decide to take over the defense of his own case. It is also his constitutional right that adequate time and facilities be provided for him to ensure that to ensure that he has adequate defense.
Yeah, but I don't think the issue is whether or not I mean, I think everybody knows he's got constitutional that right, which is why the judge allowed it. But the question is, what's the thinking behind it? I mean, you know, things aren't going well when you fire the people who are supposed to protect and represent you in a trial, don't you? I mean, did it appear to you to be an act of sort of visceral rage, impulsive, chaotic purge that wasn't well thought out? Or do you think he thought it out?
If you look at the statements made by the leadership, Nnamdi Kanu, he said after the meeting they had yesterday that the information was told them that they were going to be debriefed and that they respect the rights of Nnamdi Kanu.
No, I understand that, but I'm trying to get to the backstory.
No, that's what I'm saying. But if there was anything that happened otherwise at that meeting, I was not in that meeting. Yeah. I only showed up.
But I mean, you would have heard things. I mean, you talked to him.
No, really.
You guys normally hug each other at the end of the trial. We sat at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, we sat close.
Did he whisper anything into you?
No, but at the end of the day, he was actually, he was actually led through the judge's chambers to be evacuated back from the Federal High Court to the detention center. So we didn't have enough time to discuss in court, to say, because he's often brought to court 10 minutes to 9, and the judge comes out exactly about 9 dot. So there wasn't that much of a time beyond the camaraderie.
I mean, we obviously saw the statement. I was actually hoping that we would hear that clip from the lawyers, because they made a public statement, which has been run on a rise several times today. But I mean, is there anything beyond that public statement that might have said perhaps in out of camera to you?
No, nothing yet. I've yet to be informed otherwise. But I know that tomorrow he may be meeting with...
Usually the decision by someone to fire his lawyers and represent himself tends to be a tactical move. It's sometimes used by defendants hoping to challenge the system. I mentioned that at the outset, and potentially gain an acquittal. They believe that by representing themselves, they can control the narrative and create reasonable doubt. But that strategy has also been known to backfire. I give you one example. And it's probably an extreme example, and I don't need to kind of link it to Nnamdi Kanu. But if you remember the mass murderer in America called Ted Bundy, who was eventually executed. I mean, he got in, his lawyers were trying to arrange a plea bargain for him to get 75 years in jail, in other words, life imprisonment, and he got angry and fired all of them and said he was going to represent himself. And he ended up being found guilty, condemned to death and executed, because he did it himself. Whereas the lawyers had already made a plea bargain arrangement which would have kept him alive.
And you know, we got wind of the arrest from your post yesterday, telling us that you were present in court. Explain to us how exactly this transpired.
So, Mr. Omoyele Sowore had a case before the Federal High Court yesterday. As you are aware, there are quite a number of criminal charges that have been filed by the Inspector General of Police against Sowore, either for himself, that is IGP Ebetoko, or for some other interests, like Senator Nenwoko and a few others. So yesterday, one of those cases, specifically the one where the IGP claimed that Sowore was wrong by referring to him as illegal IGP in quotes, came up yesterday and coincided with the continuation of trial in the case of Nnamdi Kanu. Upon the conclusion of the proceedings, Mr. Sowore was exiting the premises of the Federal High Court in Abuja when a retinue of police officers basically waylaid him in front of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Initially, they claimed that, they were not coming to arrest him. The Commissioner of Police FCT had directed them to bring him before him, essentially to take him into custody. And one would have thought that civilized policing demands that they would send an invitation to him. He was not invited, either by phone call, text message, or letter. So they arrested him, took him to the FCT command, where he met a deputy commissioner of police who claimed that he shouldn't have led protesters to demand for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. After which they took him to a place infamously known as former SARS Abattoir, a place notorious for the killing, slaughter, extortion of Nigerians by the disbanded and now rebranded Special Anti-Robbery Squad. He is currently being detained there. I went to that facility myself. A couple of my colleagues also went there, who are associates of Mr. Sowore. I was denied access to him, despite all the effort that I made, on the basis that I first have to seek clearance from the Commissioner of Police FCT before I could see him. Now, I have listened to the commentaries of Mr. CSP Benjamin Ondeyin, the first public relations officer, where he has said, or where he stated, that they arrested Mr. Sowore because, according to him, it is only fair that having arrested about 13 others, and those persons in their statement indicated that it was Sowore who led them, that it would be unfair to arrest them for protesting in his own words in certain restricted areas without also arresting and prosecuting Mr. Sowore. What bothers me is that I know the gentleman Benjamin Ondeyin from Lagos when he was the police PRO in Lagos. And some of us had cause to work with him, and we felt that he was a fine police officer. But this is Abuja, the capital of iniquity in our country, the capital of corruption in our country, where even people with good intentions are so easily compromised. So I'm not surprised that Ben Ondeyin will make such careless, very utterly irresponsible commentaries, on national television, to say that they arrested Sowore simply in the spirit of fairness, not because he has committed any offense. But let us even get to the substance of the matter. What is the allegation against Sowore? They are saying that Sowore participated or led protests in certain public places in Abuja, which, according to them, the police had gotten an order of court preventing protests for the release of Nnamdi Kanu from holding in those places. The said places include the villa or anywhere close to the villa, the Eagle Square, SH0CK Square, the Court of Appeal, the National Assembly, and a few other places, and the force headquarters. Now, what is the crime that has been committed? Assuming without considering, because at this time we are not even considering that the protest took place in all those places. I, for example, am not aware, you can correct me, that people went to the villa to protest. I am not aware that Sowore was at the National Assembly to protest. I am also not aware that Sowore went to the Court of Appeal to protest, or any other person who has been arrested in connection with this protest. So, pending when the police is able to tell us where exactly these restricted places are, that people actually defied the order of the court and protested, we will still have to give them the benefit of doubt. But assuming the protest actually took place in those places, has any crime been committed? My answer is no. Because in a worst case scenario, they will be talking about contempt of court. They can say they are in contempt. But I submit to you that as of this morning, I say on my honor that I have not seen any indication that either Sowore or any other protester is in contempt of court. I have read a copy of the order parroted by the police, made, by the, I use the word parroted advisedly, because in the order by the Honorable Justice G.M. Umar of the Federal High Court Abuja, my Lord essentially made about 4 orders. In the first order, the judge restricted protesters from certain places. In the second order, the judge circumscribed the time within which the respondents, defendants are supposed to respond to the suits filed by the police. He had breached the time. That is, he limited the time that they are supposed to respond to 9 a.m. on Monday the 20th. The third order made, interestingly, I want you to take note of this. I have the order here in my cell phone. I can even read it out to you. The third order of the learned judge is very interesting. It says, the order of this court, together with the motion on notice, be served on the respondents today, Friday the 17th of October 2025. The vote is case adjourned to 20th October 2025. This is the order of the court. I am willing to provide this to you for you to see it. What does this mean? What this simply means is that when the learned judge made this order, the judge knew that by law, an order of court is binding on a party or a person if certain preconditions are met. Number one, the person that the order seeks to bind must be a party to that action. Secondly, the order must be served on that person. So the judge was not mistaken when my lord ordered that the order be served on the police. As I am having this interview this morning with you, today, the 24th day of October, neither Sowore nor any other protester was served by the police with this order, either on the 17th of October, Friday, as ordered by the learned judge, or even as at this moment. So technically, they cannot say that Sowore has breached an order that has not been served on him. But assuming that the order was even served.
So Mr. Effiong, the arrest of Mr. Sowore and others is an exercise in illegality by implication of what you have read and explained to us now. Am I correct?
It is not only illegality. It is an act of executive recklessness. Because they are saying, and don't forget that the basis upon which this said order was made is the application filed based on the deposition of the police. The police went to court through their counsel. That is, the police submitted itself to the jurisdiction of the court, got an order which they have not fulfilled. If anyone is in contempt of the order of the Federal High Court, it is the Inspector General of Police and the Nigeria Police Board that is in contempt. All right.
Let's assume that this order was served on any of the protesting parties now. Mr. Hundeyi has led us to believe that the other arrested members of the protesting team explained that it was Mr. Sowore that led them to protest in those areas restricted by the court, and that explains why they had to arrest him. Are you suggesting that, by your explanation now, that Mr. Hundeyi was lying? Because you have said that you don't have it you don't know for sure that they approached or infringed on the court order, that they didn't approach any of these areas, the court, the Supreme Court, the Aso Villa, the police headquarters, National Assembly. So is Mr. Odeyin lying?
I think I will not say lying. He's still my friend. I will say that he's entirely mistaken. He's misguided. Mr. Benjamin Odeyin is only speaking to please his bosses. He knows that what he's saying is not the correct position. Now, when those individuals say SH0CK led them in a protest, is that a crime in Nigeria to protest or to lead people in protest? And I needed to address a point because I don't want Nigerians to just trivialize this issue. I have seen the first information reports that the police has filed. Let me show you how embarrassing this whole drama is. Guess what? In the charge that they have filed against the other individuals, which I believe is the same charge they are going to file against SH0CK, or the first information report, you know what they are alleging? They are alleging that they have violated section 152 of the Penal Code. What does section 152 of the Penal Code provide for? Disobedience of order duly promulgated by public servants. If I could just quickly read what it says to you. Whoever knowing that by an order promulgated by a public servant legally empowered to promulgate such order, he is directed to abstain from certain acts or take certain action with respect to certain property in possession or under his management. This law they claim they have violated is if you flout an order made by a public servant and you not only flout it, you knowingly flout it in respect of certain property. This law, the disobedience the police is alleging in court, is in respect of property. Whether it is a house or a vehicle or some other chattel. So when they say that they are taking a case to court, this is just a clear abuse of the legal system. The law under which they are claiming these individuals have violated, including SH0CK, has no correlation, no connection with what actually took place, which is the protest.
Mr. Nibe,
I don't understand what they are saying. It simply doesn't make any sense to me.
all right, Mr. Nibe, let's further unpack a few things. I've seen the court order, as you've promised to do so. I see that the Honorable Judge did not stop the protest. What the Honorable Judge did was to restrict, as expected, as maybe the police puts it to them to, as the brief the police sent to maybe the relief police sought from the court, said, the respondents are hereby restrained in the interim from protesting in the following areas. They listed Asorock Villa, anywhere close to the Villa, the National Assembly, the Force Headquarters, Court of Appeal, Eagle Square, and SH0CK Way, pending the hearing of the motion on notice. So, first, I can see here that protest was not stopped by the court, that areas were restricted where protests could occur. On the other hand, of course, it's an ex parte, but let's talk about the law here and what is the premise. So I can also see here that the third order said the order of this court, together with a motion on notice, be served on the respondents today, Friday, October the 17th, which was that day. So now you're saying that, or you're claiming that the order was not served as instructed by the court. What happens in law if an order was to, if this was to be served on the respondent and they were not served? Does it stop them from carrying out their protest?
Excellent question. But let me quickly inform Nigerians. The places that I know verifiable, and you had correspondents who covered this protest, that this protest actually took place, are Utako, Apo Mechanic, Gudu Junction. I think some persons went to Transcorp. But these are the places identifiable that this protest actually took place. I am not aware that the Eagle Square is in Utako, that Court of Appeal is at Utako, that the Unity, the other places listed in the order are either in Utako, Apo Mechanic, or Gudu Junction. Or even those who went to Transcorp. I'm not aware, right, that any of these places. You can look at the order. You have the order before you. Transcorp was not listed. Look at it. You have the order.
So, where were they?
I'm saying that.
My apologies. In addition to your response, the people that the police arrested, I'm sure when people are arrested and they are entering their document, it will be stated where they were arrested. Have you been able to see that as well? Because the claim of the police, which you have rightly put, and which this order is saying they were restricted, is that these persons went to protest in areas that the court has said, don't go near those places. Do your protest anywhere else, but not here. The police say, we've arrested certain persons who went to these places, and they are all mentioning Sowore that led them. So, for fairness, they had to bring in Sowore. So, did they arrest these persons anywhere apart from these places?
When it comes to the Nigeria police force, and I say this with all sense of responsibility, and filing charges in court, the police lies for a living. I have seen this case after case. I can give you litany of cases, including the ones I have been involved with, where police will make averments in court that are completely false. Perjury has become part of the Nigeria police. So if they are going to file a charge on a false information report to say, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. You covered the protest. Channel TV covered the protest. Did you see Sowore at the villa? Did you see Sowore at the Court of Appeal? Did you see Sowore at the Eagle Square? But assuming that they even protested at those places, which is a question you asked previously, can they be prosecuted? The answer is no. Because the procedure in law for punishing contempt is clear. And this contempt they are alleging arises from a civil action filed by the same police. If a party disobeys an order of court, the only authority, the only institution that has jurisdiction to inquire into the allegation of that disobedience is the court that makes that order. How do you do that? You simply file a motion before the court to commit that person to prison. So what the police has done, assuming without considering that the protest actually took place in those places, is resorting to serve help. The judge who made this order has not been informed that his own order has been violated. The police has not taken the steps required by law for the enforcement of that order. So for you to file a charge based on section 152 of the Penal Code that is in respect of property, if a property is in your possession or in the possession of another person, and the court says don't enter that property or hand over that property and disobey, and you disobey that order, then you can be prosecuted. To bring a charge under a section of the law that has no connection with what we are dealing with, it is a sign of executive recklessness. I would have said illiteracy. The police has a retinue of lawyers. I mean, look at the number of lawyers from the police that were just called to the bar. The IGP received them. Is this not an embarrassment to those colleagues of mine? Looking at, listening, watching how the police, the institution that they are part of, is embarrassing our country, is jeopardizing the legal system, and making mockery of everything. So, number one, I want to place on record, I am not aware that the order was violated, and I have challenged you, show me evidence that this order was actually violated. Number two, we cannot even speak about violation, because the condition precedent to the applicability and enforcement of that order, which the court acknowledged in number 3, which you have read, is that that order must be served on the respondents on the 17th of October. They did not serve that order. That order was not effective. That order cannot be said to have been violated. And assuming they even served, I have shown you, I have explained to you, that the correct approach in law is to go back to the judge that made the order.
All right. Mr. Effiong, as we wind down now, the President's Senior Special Assistant on Media, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, has been speaking on the participation of Mr. Aloy Ejimakor in the protest. I'm quoting from his verified Twitter handle now, X handle. He said, as a lawyer, you should be aware of the principle of sub judice, particularly in relation to the ongoing treason case before the court. The prosecution has concluded its case, and it's now incumbent on Mr. Ejimakor and the other lawyers to mount a strong defense for Kanu. He said, rather than focus on preparing a strong case, Mr. Ejimakor has resorted to extra legal tactics, joining a career anarchist to influence the process. Was it wrong for Mr. Ejimakor to participate in the protest?
What was he protesting? That is the first question. You know, in this country, we sometimes listen to some of these public officers, and we cannot be amused. When Mr. Onanuga made that comment, did he tell you what Mr. Ejimakor was protesting against? Was he protesting against the judge? The answer is no. Was he protesting against the witnesses listed that testified against Kanu? The answer is no. Was he even protesting, right, against the trial of Kanu? Can you show me one video where Mr. Ejimako made a comment prejudicial to the trial? There is no provision. And I want a lawyer in Nigeria to come and contradict me. Because I listened to some of my colleagues, including some senior advocates of Nigeria, quite sadly, come on television to mislead Nigerians. I am putting it on record this morning that there is no law, there is no provision of the Rules of Professional Conduct for Legal Practitioners 2025 that prohibits a lawyer that is involved in litigation from commenting on that litigation, from commenting on that suit. What our rules of conduct, rules of ethics prevents is making comments prejudicial to the case. That is comment that tends to preempt the outcome or that tends to basically take over the conduct of the case. So assuming that Mr. Alo Ejimako had, during the protest, granted an interview and said, for example, oh, this judge that is trying Nnamdi Kanu, I can put it to you, is biased. This judge has been compromised. The witnesses, we are going to deal with them. The witnesses are not credible. The exhibit that was tendered was fabricated. If he had made those comments along those lines, one can maybe suggest that he had made comments prejudicial to the trial. That is why when you see public, serious cases take place, right, cases of public interest after the hearing, you will see the media. You have judicial correspondence. Go to the Federal High Court this morning after you are done interviewing me. Go and interview. You see lawyers that have concluded cases of public interest. They address the media. It is not strange. It is not a violation of the law. It is what you say that matters. But let us even take the conversation further. Are you saying that because the legal practitioner is right to freedom of expression under Section 39 is extinguished? Are you saying that he has no right to express himself, to articulate his position as a Nigerian because he's a counsel on record to Nnamdi Kanu? I think what we are seeing is a further shrinking of the civic space. Let me maybe, I don't know how much time I have, but let me in rounding up make this point. Recently, the media has been awash, right, by this quite sad news, unfortunate news, that some soldiers have been arrested for allegedly planning to stage a coup. I believe you have seen those reports. The question is, we don't want a coup in Nigeria. The point is that we don't want any coup in Nigeria. I'm totally against it. But can you say today that the Tinubu regime, the Tinubu government has not waged a coup against the constitution of our country? That can you tell me this morning that there is no coup against the democracy in this country? Because the moment you begin to say people cannot protest in the villa, people cannot protest in the Ibu Square, people cannot protest Shagari Way, do you want Nigerians in Abuja to go to Sambisa Forest to protest? Do you want people to go to the forest to protest?
All right.
This is a clear indication that this government has no respect for the rule of law. Look at the No Kings protests in US. Millions of Americans took over a lot of places in the US. Go to the White House today, you can find Americans protesting. Go to number 10 in London. You can find people in UK protesting in front of the Prime Minister's residence. What is sacred about the villa that Nigerians cannot protest? What is sacred about the National Assembly? If I cannot go to the National Assembly to protest, where am I supposed to protest? This Tinubu presidency, here is a president who took part in protest. Here are people in power, the APC, that came to power based on protest. Today, they are criminalizing protests. They are stigmatizing those who are holding placards, while the same government is romancing bandits that is using AK-47 to kill Nigerians, giving amnesty to criminals while attacking people that are holding a placard. This is not how to build a democracy. You cannot say you want a democracy, you don't want a coup, and at the same time, you are attacking the legitimate right of Nigerians to protest. Let the government be serious. Let us stop this weaponization of the legal system, trivialization of the rule of law, making a mockery of the judicial system. Enough is enough. Nigerians must be respected. The rest of Nigerians to respect themselves is sacrosanct. And we are not going to relinquish on those rights.
On the floor of the Senate, you have argued with your colleagues the need for an anonymous state. And don't even begin the conversation around marginalization, because that's the first thing, because people will say, we have Southwest 6 states. South 6 states, Northeast 6 states, North Central 6 states, Northwest 7 states, but Southeast 5 states. Is that part of the agenda to fix the Southeast that seems to be smaller in terms of the number of states, or what?
Well,
almost just over a year ago, I had a meeting with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, where I discussed about the problems of Southeast, the insecurity in Southeast. What do we do to address it? And he knows the problems, and he also has an idea. The whole idea is that there should be some level of equity extended to the Igbos of Southeast by having an additional state. It wasn't going to be an easy task, to create one, but it is doable. And I'm happy that we have come this far. The point is this: even at that time, it was understood that the problems of Southeast, the agitations of the youths of Southeast, the killings there, the referring to the ESN groups and ESN and IPOB and the rest of them. These are young people who have come up to say that they are fighting for freedom because they are marginalized. And one of the areas that they've all spoken about and against is the fact that they are the only zone. Southeast is the only zone in Nigeria that has 5 states. Why is that? Why was it done intentionally to undermine them? Of course, yes. And from engaging those youths, it became so obvious that if a step is taken in creating one state, just one state, to bring it apart with the 5 other zones, let's leave Northwest out of this now, at least bring it apart to the 4 other zones, then something would have been done for them. Yes, they are clamoring for different things, but I mean, not least, of course, the release of Nnamdi Kanu. They're asking for it. We know that is something that has to be done. You will just say Nnamdi Kanu to be released. Yes, yeah, of course. Why do you think so? Nnamdi Kanu has been in custody for some time now. I believe that he has been held unjustly. Many people feel that way.
As a lawyer, do you think so?
Oh yes, yes.
That the judicial process is unjust?
Yes. Yeah, no, it has been. There's a lot of delays in prosecuting him and all that. If you want to get him tried and convicted, get on with it. But this is a guy who has been held unjustly aside, for so many months.
And the Buhari government started
I'm not talking about this government.
Trial. No, so the point I'm making now.
I'm talking about the previous government under Buhari when
it's facing a judicial process right now.
Yes.
Saying it's unjust because the argument is that there should be a political solution, maybe a null prosecution. Prosecution should be established on that for the case to be withdrawn. But there are those who say, well, there are allegations and it's left for the law for him to have his day in court, which is in process.
But as you know, there has been some pronouncements by the Federal High Court, which has not been respected. So his incarceration is the main reason for the crisis in Southeast.
But the crisis started before he was even arrested.
No.
The killings, the burning of police station, the killing of police officers and all whatnot.
Well, look, the problem in Southeast is very different from what is in the Northeast or Northwest and all those areas. The problem in the Southeast has to do with the perceived injustice by governments, successive governments. So what needs to be done? And one of it's why I'm here today, talking about the creation of states to make up the number up to 5. And then you have the release of Nnamdi Kanu. By the time you do these 2 things, I am almost certain that peace will return to Southeast.
Let me ask you this question, Senator.
I have spoken to so many youths in from Southeast, and they have assured me that that they are prepared to be engaged by us, by the leadership. When this is done, they don't want to die. The youths don't want to die. They want to go back to schools. They want to go back to their jobs. all they want is some level of respect and acknowledgement by the nation, by the government of Nigeria.
I want to... Let me put this perspective very straight. Nnamdi Kanu has not been convicted of any crime of terrorism or for terrorism in Nigeria by any Nigerian court. He has also not been convicted by any foreign court for terrorism. So it will be sad and uncharitable when he begins to describe him as a terrorist. The administration which that young man said, that is the Buhari administration, when a number of elders from the southeast and where many Nigerians were appealing to Buhari to release Nnamdi Kanu, he made a statement. He said that let the judiciary and the courts decide Nnamdi Kanu's fate. That was Buhari, late Buhari. Now, during this time, the judiciary decided the fate of Nnamdi Kanu. The rule of law decided the fate of Nnamdi Kanu. For instance, Umuahia Federal High Court gave a verdict in favor of Nnamdi Kanu. The Court of Appeal affirmed another decision favoring Nnamdi Kanu, asking that he be released. That is extraordinary rendition from Kenya or anywhere to Nigeria was illegal. And based on that he should be released. The ECOWAS courts also added their voices. The United Nations People's Court also added their voices. African Charter of Human Rights also added their voices. These are, organs and institutions that enhances the rule of law. Buhari never heeded such calls, as the case may be. Now, for the former PA or assistant to not term Nnamdi Kanu a terrorist, that you cannot, it's like he's foisting on Nnamdi Kanu a fair to comply. And he has already found him guilty, even when the Nigerian court has found him guilty. That is something I cannot really begin to understand. And for him to now compare the situation of Nnamdi Kanu to Boko Haram, you see, it's sickening and nauseating. Because the Boko Haram variant of terrorism is akin to that of Al-Qaeda. We don't really know whether that the religious, philosophy struggle that they are into, whether they are into economic or I don't think so. Nnamdi Kanu is not in that Qaeda. So it is a misconception, an uncharitable word for that man to now compare both situations. That Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist. I really cannot fathom it out. It's so sad. Now, even as it is, IPOB that was prescribed, there are matters in court about the prescription of IPOB. Until and unless those matters are decided in court, it cannot be said or said, legally speaking, that IPOB is a prescribed organization. I'm not trying to, maybe support them as the case may be, but let us follow legalists and what legal, authorities have said in Nigeria here. So it's unfortunate. And now coming to what Femi Falana has advocated, that let this be settled out of the courtroom. I quite agree with, Femi Falana's, assertion and postulation on the release that a political solution will be the best way to resolve this Nnamdi Kanu. Stop this particular court, whatever that we have. The AG of the Federation has powers under the Constitution to continue, discontinue, as the case may be, even when trials continue. He has the right to do that. You can do it. Why not use those kind of verbs open to you and the government, and let's see if we can come to a round table and do what? Negotiate. I am saying this finally, not because of the fact that I am putting pressure on the government, or maybe I'm trying to echo views of others that are just within Nigeria here. In Turkey, there's a particular man, a young man called Abdallah Öcalan. It's the same situation he found himself in Turkey. The PKK, etc., as the case may be. He's their leader. Unfortunately, he was also extradited from Kenya, this same Kenya, to Turkey. The same way Nnamdi Kanu was, extradited back to Nigeria. A lot of things went under the ground. He's still there for close to 2 decades in detention. But right now, as I speak with you, the PKK, under the leadership of Abdallah Öcalan and the Turkish government, have found out that the courts may not be able to solve this problem. So let us see if we can get a political solution. And that is why he told, when he saw the genuineness of the aspirations of government, he gathered his followers and said that we have used all means to achieve what we want, violent ones for that matter. They have not worked. Now is the time for ideas to speak. Let us see and negotiate with government for my release and see how PKK and my own agitations, can be cubicle into these particular negotiations. And there's already peace in that area of Turkey today. I ask that the Öcalan situation should be adopted in Nnamdi Kanu's situation. Let government leave this, their egotistic pride, and begin to come and negotiate, or maybe talk with Nnamdi Kanu. That's my opinion.
All right,
and
thank you very much.
Let political solution be used.
All right,
not
thank you.
Thank
you very much, Barrister
Thank
Steve
you.
Adams.
We had a rumor that the plot is to actually buy him, assassinate him. But whatever it is, they can't do it because Omashore, you can't touch him. If you do that, the revolution, it even hastened the revolution. And if you watch him yesterday when he was coming here, he came prepared with his bags. It shows that he was ready for anything. And we, as his comrades, we are ready for anything. Nigeria belongs to all of us. Nobody has the monopoly of Nigeria. But anything that happened to Omashore, well, let me stop there.
All right.
We got the news that our leader, Shore, has been kidnapped from the FID this morning. I think about 6 a.m. this morning. And I think about, we heard allegedly now about 9 hefty policemen invaded his cell. They told him that they were even taking him to either court. But he was demanding for his lawyer because you can't just pick him. Shore is not just an ordinary Nigerian. He has contested presidential election twice. In a working country, a man like Shore should be respected. But they drag him like a criminal with a broken hand. We have seen that already. And as a matter of fact, he's not even treated yet. We don't even know the stage, the level. What is even paining us now is, where is our leader Shore? Because what has happened to him can happen to anybody. If a man like Omashore that have been fighting for justice since his cradle can be bundled like a thief, compare that to average and ordinary Nigerian. And it's a strong indicator that our Nigerian police have lost it. If they can do that to Omashore, they can do that to anybody. And that's why the story we are hearing about the Nigerian police being one of the most poorest police in the world, it's not bad news. It's expected. And we are all calling on the illegal IG. His tenure has expired. It's illegal. Whatever Omashore has said is not untrue. It's fact. The figures are there. His tenure has expired. Go. You are not the only one. You are not the most competent police officer we have. We have had the likes of Super Cop Abakari that was celebrated all over the world. Where is he today? Nemesis is caught up with him. And whatever he's doing, he should be warned that, look, whatever impunity will not last forever. Very soon, it will catch up with him. We have a Mefele now singing song in prison. He, one day, we account for whatever he's doing with the Nigerian police. Yes. We had a rumor that the plot is to actually buy him, assassinate him. But whatever it is, they can't do it because Omashore, you can't touch him. If you do that, the revolution, it even hastened the revolution. And if you watch him yesterday when he was coming here, he came prepared with his bags. It shows that he was ready for anything. And we, as his comrades, we are ready for anything. Nigeria belongs to all of us. Nobody has the monopoly of Nigeria. And as a matter of fact, the power of citizen is conferred on us, not even on the politicians or on most of the appointees like the illegal IG. And we are saying our leader, Omashore, should be released immediately. Nothing should happen to him. Nothing. We are watching. Amnesty International is watching. The international body is watching. UN are all watching. Everybody is watching. And we are saying Omashore should be released unconditionally with an apology. He is a representation of a true Nigerian, a man that knows his rights. How can a man like the so-called illegal IG be parading himself, giving promotion to people that do not deserve? And you don't want someone like Omosowore to speak? Let me tell us this, that it is okay with you now, that you are in your comfort zone, that impunity have not reached you, does not mean that it will not reach you. It is high time we stand to defend our country and the constitution of Nigeria. If we don't stand, nobody will stand or speak for us. The countries that we are running into today, the countries we are running, the Japa syndrome that we are having today, their citizens stood to defend their country. So if you don't wake up to defend your country, nobody will do that for you. No angels, no spirit from anywhere will come to build a better Nigeria. And that is why we are out today, under the rain, under the sun. We are out. We were earlier at the first headquarters, we returned back to FID, and we are saying, where is Omosowore? They must produce him. And nothing. The threat of buying him or assassinating him, that one is a tale. It's a tale by moonlight. And we are not taking that. Anything that happened to Omosowore, well, let me stop there.
All right. Okay, now, we also inundated with reports that this matters, not even just the IGP, there are powers that be connected, that are actually even interested in this, and probably it might even just be, there is even more to this than missing.
Yes, you know that Omosowore is the president of the masses, and the elite are not happy with him. If you remember, one of the ex-presidents said that if Omosowore becomes the president of Nigeria, some of them will run out of the country. So they are afraid of him. All the elite, most of these criminals, so-called politicians, they are afraid of Omosowore. They know him. They know his capacity. They know his capability, and that's why whatever is happening now, some of them are hiding in their hideout, in their holes, laughing. But see, what we saw during the NSAS is child's play. If anything happened to Omosowore, we are mobilizing. The number you see here is an iceberg. We are mobilizing. People are coming together from far and near. It's a matter of time. The other day he said, whatever we are doing, the pressure from the NSAS, or the August protests and all of that, is just a build-up. Like a boom, it will happen. And Nigeria will be good again. And most of these criminals that are threatened by the leadership and the goodwill and the lifestyle of Omosowore, they will have no place to hide. If they run to any country, we'll bring them back here. They will face the wrath of the law. You see, the other day, let me tell you what Omosowore said. He said, all these ex-presidents, he's going to try them in Nigeria. He will try them for crime against Nigerians, crime against the human rights and the citizens of Nigeria. So whatever they are doing, nemesis is coming. Yeah. It's coming. I need to catch up with them.
Okay, so now some people are saying, why is Omosowore actually against this particular? Because with the fact that the immigration board is also as guilty as, okay, her tenure was extended. The CD of customs is also on.
The difference is that, you see, the IG's own pertains to the state, the security, and the internal security of any country is more important. The other day we were talking about the security of Nigeria, and a community, they deployed army to a community, and they said no, they don't want army, they want police. No country depends on the army for their internal security. So if we don't get it right at the policing level, we can never get it right. And it was the impunity that they saw during the IG, that of IG, that necessitated what they are doing today in that of I think immigration also or custom. And we are saying no, that platform and antecedent is wrong. His tenure has expired, let him go. One thing is that it affects other officers. It's not just all about tenure expiration, it affects other staff. People want to go, it's a chain, it's like a relay. So if his tenure has expired, he's not the only one. We have competent police officers in Nigeria that can man that office, so let him go. We want our internal security to be well structured and to be the best in the world, and that's why we are saying that illegal IG, Oga, your tenure has expired, go with your girlfriend. Make una dey go.
Do you foresee a breakdown of law and order when the group mobilize protest? Because right now the police are not backing that. So what next?
Well,
you are not.
You see, one thing about us is that we may not be armed with physical guns, but we are armed with our rights. You hear me? We are armed. We know our rights as Nigerians. So Well, talking about breakdown of law and order, it's up to them. It's up to them. We are law-abiding citizens. If you remember, since yesterday, we've been here, no noise, nothing. All we are asking is release Sowore now. So whatever they want, we'll give it to them, but let them know that whatever Sowore is fighting for is for them and for their children. If Nigeria is not good, it will affect all of them. We don't have any other country. We don't have any other country. If Nigeria goes bad, Ghana cannot accommodate us. Cameroon cannot accommodate us. So we need to make Nigeria work. And it is our responsibility, their responsibility, to make Nigeria work. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, my wonderful people. As we have finished watching this interesting video, please, I want to see your comment, your contribution, your opinion in the comment section. Like I said earlier, let us do it constructively. Tell me what you think about this video that you have just watched, and also about the platform. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please remember to subscribe, put on your notification bell, share this video, and remain blessed.